I have made just over $64,000 from one client, and I mean, it may not sound impressive until you realize where that client came from. And it all started with me spending $1,500 on a random online course. I know this may sound completely backwards because a lot of people think that courses are just a waste of time. You know, you pay for a course, you binge a few lessons, then maybe you gain some knowledge and then you move on, and that's basically it. But here's the truth, the real value of a course isn't the content, but the community behind it. When you buy a great course, especially the ones that have a big community aspect to them, you're not just buying lessons, you're actually buying access to people. So here's how everything happened for me. I joined PTYA, which is Part-Time YouTubers Academy course. Back then it was a live cohort with, I think it was like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. And that course costed me $1,500. The goal for me was simple. I wanted to improve my video making skills, and hopefully, follow the setup and everything. It kind of shows that I think I improved a little bit. But the key thing is that it had nothing to do with what services I offer as a freelancer. If you didn't know, I am an SEO expert, which is search engine optimization, basically just optimizing websites to rank higher on Google. And that course had nothing to do with SEO. However, since it was a live cohort, the benefit of that was that we were interacting on Zoom calls with other students from all around the world, kind of on a daily basis, because I think we had like 3 or 4 lessons per week. There was a very active community on Circle. That's basically just a platform where a lot of courses, at least that I attend, are based on. So you were able to see a lot of people's profiles. You were able to send them DMs. You were able to just communicate in the comments. And you were also able to actually talk live during these live sessions on Zoom, because usually there were some breakout rooms where they randomly kind of selected and assigned people to, smaller private groups where we basically can discuss a specific thing that we were kind of being taught that day. And so I was very active on that community. I was very active on Zoom calls. I was very active on chat. I was very active on the Circle platform, just kind of asking questions, giving feedback. I was trying to be as interactive as I possibly can. However, the reason was not to get any clients. For me, the reason was I wanted to get as much value of this course as I possibly can. And I figured since community is a big part for that course, I want to be as active as possible during those 6 to 8 weeks. And what happens when you're very active and you kind of showcase what you know, what kind of person you are, you're kind of doing mini personal branding basically during that course, because you're introducing to a lot of people. I've actually made some friends. With some people I even kind of kept in communication years after the course is finished. So generally I view that as a way to make friends, network with people, and just to get to know others. I have actually even met a lot of people live, because eventually after a year or 2 years, they held a live community event in London where a lot of people from that course kind of flew in to meet Ali and just kind of interact with each other. So the networking and community aspect for this course was just insane. And so because I was so active, I actually met a person that was also sort of going and improving his YouTube channel, but he also had a website, an old website that he has been running for like decades at the moment. And it all started with just a simple one-time project. He saw that I'm an SEO expert. He wanted to improve and sort of fix some things on his site. We basically, since we already kind of communicated and knew each other, he just asked if I could, fix a couple of things on his website. And it all started with just this one simple one-time project. After that project, I actually wanted to keep in touch with that person. It seemed like we really kind of hit it off. He seemed like a really cool guy, and it was very easy for me to work with him, and I was able to deliver him some really good results, even with that just one-time project. So I actually kept in touch with him, and eventually, actually, he asked me for another thing to do for him, another very small sort of issue that he had. And after that issue, I actually just offered him to do a long-term SEO work for me to actually provide as much value as I can to him. And then that turned into a long-term retainer contract that I still have to this day. And to this day, I actually made just above $37,000 just from this one client. And it all started with me just chatting and talking and just being in front of the right people. And the beauty is that I delivered so much value to him. We sort of clicked and worked so well together that he's starting to actively refer me to his other people that also need my services. And actually, in the last couple of years, he referred me to 3 other clients. And in total, I made just over $27,000 from referrals from that one client. So if we just add it all up, it's actually over $65,000 total from this one client. And actually, most of these clients, I still actually work to this day on a retainer, on a monthly retainer, which means this 65,000 is actually going to grow and will probably reach $100,000 in just a year or 2 years time. So that initial $1,500 that I spent on course, I actually calculated that that's over 2,000% return. That course paid for itself like hundreds of times. When you pay $1,500, but then you make $65,000 in just a couple of years, that's insane return. And to be honest, I don't know any other way of where you can actually spend this much amount of money and get this high return. And here's some universal truth that I learned is that these days, knowledge, with AI search and everything like that, these days knowledge is not really useful. You can basically now either Google or just ask AI about anything you want, about any summary of any book, of any strategy, it will give you that. However, what I think is really valuable and the thing you can't Google your way into is relationships and networking. And I think as we are going into this AI age, I think being able to just network with people and build relationships with people and actually just communicate with people is gonna become insanely valuable, because everything else, now even nowadays, AI can even make videos. So being able to jump on or meet people in somewhere outside, or being able to jump on a Zoom call and chat with people and just being human and networking, I think this is gonna be very, very valuable in the coming years. So what I'm thinking is I am now way more inclined to invest in higher quality communities to actually be in front of the right people all of the time and build as big a network as I possibly can. Because if we as freelancers will start selling our services just usual cold calling or just usual websites and leads and stuff like that, with AI, it might get very crowded. So people that will need services might have difficulty choosing someone or difficulty trusting anything that they get on the internet, because now I suppose probably over half of the emails that are sent worldwide are being typed with ChatGPT instead of people typing it. So just being able to chat and talk with people, I think that trust factor is gonna become really, really powerful. And I know that spending, for example, $1,000 in a course might feel risky, but I think if it has the right people inside, it may be the best investment that you ever make. Even if you never expect to make that investment back. I was investing in my, education of just making sure that my videos and that I know how to make good videos, because I wanted to move sort of in that space. But even then, it might end up sort of working in your favor as it did for me. So don't chase clients, just get in a room where they are already, and going after private and paid communities is the way to go. However, it doesn't have to be a course. There are also a lot of private Slack groups that I'm kind of also a part. There are also LinkedIn communities. There are Substack paid newsletters where you can also interact in the comments either with the author or with other people inside. And there are even like group chats and stuff like that for specific things or specific communities. So whatever you do, there are a lot of different ways to get involved with a specific community. However, don't do that if you are, for example, a developer and you only interact with other developers, that's probably not, where you're going to find your clients. So going a bit outside of your specific area and sort of interacting with those communities where you actually can offer your services, that is going to be very, very crucial. So just start building your network today. Choose a platform, a community, a course, whatever, sort of where your potential buyers might end up being. And just, start either interacting, or if you choose a platform, something like LinkedIn, just, post consistently, ask questions, offer help, interact with people. I think interacting with people is the thing that is gonna get you somewhere where you don't even know where you're gonna end up. For example, I didn't even know this type of client existed, or this type of group of clients that now I'm actually almost exclusively trying to target. And I work with the same 5 type of clients that I found the initial client during that course. So if I wouldn't have been able to interact during that course, I wouldn't have found this particular niche where I think I personally can thrive in, I can provide amazing results, and where I see a lot of more opportunities. So, I even actually started with some LinkedIn posts, and I think that also opened doors that I never, expected. But that's the story for a whole nother thing. LinkedIn is also very, very powerful. And just remember one key thing: you don't need to go viral. You just need the right person to see your stuff. But check out my newsletter, link down below. I share everything that I know about freelancing, all the strategies, and everything is in there. So check it out. But for now, YouTube thinks that you want to watch this video, so check it out here.